Hello! Welcome to English for Shared. Here, you learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's go!
Did I marry for money? My name is Aphrodite. I'm 23 years old. I live in Vancouver, Canada. I work as a baker. I make cakes for my clients and for stores. I make cakes for birthdays, graduations, and weddings. I also take orders for shops. It's not easy. The money is little and the work is enormous. I live with my younger sister. She helps me with the baking and cake production. I don't have any other family. My parents passed away many years ago. I rent a small, simple house. It's clean, but very small. I have a bed, a chair, a stove, and a table. I have a small fan for hot days. I eat simple food, rice, bread, and soup. I don't eat out. I don't buy new clothes. I try to save every penny. I share meals with my sister. Sometimes we don't have anything to eat. Sometimes I cry at night. But every morning I wake up and work. This is my life. Just working, sleeping, and trying again. One rainy morning, I was making a cake in a small cafe. I was very tired. I noticed when a man walked in. He had gray hair. He looked about 65. He walked slowly. He sat at a table nearby and stared at the rain. Then he looked at me. I looked away. I had just finished decorating the cake. The man stood up and came to me. He smiled. It was a soft, gentle smile. "You look tired," he said. His voice was calm. I smiled a little. "It's just been a long day," I said. He nodded. "You work hard," he said. Then he left. The next day, I was working again. The same man passed by. He saw me and smiled. I smiled back. He waved and walked in. Later, he came out and brought me a cup of chamomile tea. "It's warm," he said. "You can drink it." I thanked him. He smiled again and walked away. I drank the tea. It was sweet and smooth. I felt something strange. No one had ever given me tea like that before. The next day, he came again. He brought toast with the tea. "You need to eat," he said. I was embarrassed. "Thank you," I said. I didn't know what else to say. His name was Gerald. He came every day, always smiling, always bringing tea or bread. Sometimes he brought flowers from his garden. He never asked questions. He just spoke kindly. I started to wait for him. I looked often at the cafe door. When he came, my heart warmed. I didn't really know why. He was much older. He looked like a father or even a grandfather. I liked his voice. I liked his eyes. They weren't cold. They were soft. They were confident. One day, he sat with me on a bench near the cafe. He was serious. "Aphrodite," he said, "I want to talk." I looked at him. I was nervous. "You live alone with your sister. She is your family. You work hard every day. Life is hard for you." I looked down. I didn't say anything. "I want to help you," he said. "Why?" I asked. He smiled a little. "Because I care," he said. As he was getting up to leave, he said, "Please think about what I said." That night, I sat in my room. I looked at my small table. I looked at the wall. I thought about his words. No one had ever said they cared about me. No one had ever looked at me like that. What did he mean by that? The following week, I was working again. He came and gave me a letter. He said, "Please read this and think." He smiled and walked away. I put the letter inside my blouse. I didn't open it right away. I was scared. Later that night, I sat on the bed and opened it. His handwriting was careful. The letter said, in few words, that he wanted to help me, that he could pay my rent, that he could help me and my sister. But he wanted something too. He wanted to marry me. My hands began to shake. Marriage? I couldn't sleep. I sat on the bed. The rain was falling again. My heart was heavy. Was he serious? Was this real? I am so poor. I had no family. Life was hard every day. Money was never enough. And now someone wanted to marry me? Someone wanted to help me. I thought about his face, his gentle voice, the way he looked at me, the way he smiled. He had never asked me for anything before. He was always respectful. But marriage? And then what? I read the letter many times during the night. Jasmine, my sister, asked what I was feeling, and I didn't answer. I told her to go to sleep. The next day, I didn't go to work. I stayed in my room. I paced back and forth. My head was full of thoughts, of doubts. The following day, I saw when he arrived. He was at the cafe door. It was raining again. His coat was wet, but his smile was the same. I walked to him. I was holding the letter in my hand. "I read your letter," I said. My voice was low. He waited. I looked at his face. I looked at the street. "I accept to marry you," I said. He didn't move. Then he smiled. His eyes were glowing. "Thank you, Aphrodite," he said. Truly. There was no hug, no kiss, just two people in the rain, just two hearts trying to understand. He said we could get married the next month. A simple wedding, no party, just a paper, a ring, and a promise. That night, I sat again on the bed. I asked myself many times, did I do the right thing? Will I be safe? Will I regret it? The rain fell harder. I listened to the sound. It was soft and strong. I whispered to myself, time will tell. The next morning, I was finishing another wedding cake order. My heart was full of thoughts. A new life was coming. A strange life. Maybe a better life. Maybe not. But I had said yes. The days passed slowly. Gerald didn't come every day now. He said he wanted to give me time and space. I tried to keep my mind busy, but his words wouldn't leave my head. I thought about the wedding. I thought about the proposal. It still felt strange. But I had said yes. One morning, he came to see me. He brought a paper with a date. It was the wedding day. He said, "Only a few people will come, no party. Just a moment. Only if you still want to, of course." I looked at the paper. I said softly, "Yes, I'll be there." I didn't tell anyone, only my sister. I didn't buy a new dress. I had no money for that. I found a used white dress at a second-hand shop near the church. It was simple. I washed it by hand. I ironed it carefully. It looked soft and clean. I tied my hair with a white ribbon. I wore some of my sister's bracelets. The day came. The sky was cloudy. I walked alone to the small building. It was a quiet place, far from the city. Gerald was waiting outside. He wore a black suit. He looked calm. He held a small bouquet. The flowers weren't from a store. They were from his garden. "Hello," he said. "You look beautiful." "Thank you," I said. We walked in together. There were about 8 people there. I didn't know any of them. I think they were his friends. The man who said the words was kind. He smiled at both of us. The room was quiet. There was no music. There were no cameras. Just our hands, our eyes, and 2 simple rings. Gerald said, "I will take care of you forever." We put on the rings. The man said, we were now married. Gerald looked at me. His eyes were soft. "Let's go home," he said. His house was on a quiet street. We took a short car ride. I looked out the window. My heart was beating fast. I had never been to his house before. I didn't know what to expect. The house was big and impressive. It had tall walls and large windows. Everything smelled like flowers. There were books and crystals on the shelves. There were many rooms and many servants. The walls had many paintings. The air inside was fresh. "This is my house," he said. "Now it's your house, too, and your sister's." I looked around. "It's wonderful." "Yes," he said. That first night, I slept in a new room. The bed was big. The pillow was soft, but I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling. I felt like a guest. I wasn't afraid, but I wasn't calm either. Gerald didn't come to my room. He gave me space. He didn't ask for anything. That made me feel better. He was respectful and kind. Even so, I wondered, is this really my life now? The next morning, I woke up early. I went to the kitchen. My husband was already there. There was tea, bread and cakes. There were juices, cheeses, and fruit. The smell was sweet. The servants were waiting. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning," I replied. We ate in silence, but it wasn't a cold silence. It was soft, like a soft song. One rainy afternoon, he came in with a box. "For you," he said. "Books." I opened the box. Inside were storybooks, simple titles and cozy covers. "Thank you," I said. I smiled a little. We started talking more. I asked about the garden. He told me about the flowers. I asked about his past. He spoke softly. He said he had never had a wife, no children, that his family had always been wealthy, that he had met many women, but he felt they only wanted him for his money. I listened to his stories. He talked about his travels around the world. about his adventures. They were gentle stories. His voice was soothing. His eyes were always soft. One night, after dinner, he served me more tea. He said, "I'm happy you're in my life." I looked at him. I felt something new in my chest. It wasn't fear or obligation. It was warmth. I said, "Thank you." The next morning, sunlight came through the windows. I woke up and smiled. After breakfast, he took me to visit a farm he owned. It was a big farm. There were many trees, many animals. There was also a beautiful garden. That day, he showed me the garden. The flowers were blooming. The herbs smelled fresh. He said, "Nature teaches patience." I liked that. We sat outside for a long time. We talked about books. We talked about simple things. He never asked me about my past. He never told me how to feel. He just listened. He just smiled. That touched me. I began to see him not just as an old man, but as a good man, a person with a gentle heart, someone who never wanted to hurt me, someone who gave without asking. One night, we were sitting on the porch. The stars were shining. The air was cool. I held my cup of tea and looked at him. He said nothing. I didn't either. But I felt safe. Maybe this wasn't just help. Maybe something was growing. It was small. It was slow. But it was there. That night, we had dinner together. I no longer felt like a guest. I felt part of the house. The next day, I went out alone. I saw two women near the house. They looked at me and whispered. One of them said, "She only married him for money." The words hit my heart. I hurried back home. Gerald saw my face. He touched my hand. He said, "Words mean nothing. I know who you are." I didn't cry, but my eyes were wet. That night, I asked him, "Why did you help me?" He looked at the stars, then at me. "Because you needed kindness," he said. I felt my body warm up. I had never heard that before. He touched my face gently. I moved closer. Our lips met for the first time. It wasn't fast. It was soft and warm. Not for gold, not for need. It was for love. Weeks passed. The days were calm. We shared stories, smiles. We were always side by side. We spoke few words, but they were true. I noticed his eyes more. I noticed how he looked at me, not with desire, not with power, but with care. One morning, Gerald left early. He said he had to go to the city. I stayed home. I looked through the books he gave me. The house seemed quiet, more than usual. I waited for him by the window. I listened to the wind. I missed him. When he came back that evening, he brought flowers and a necklace. "For you," he said. My heart beat a little faster. I took the flowers, and he put the necklace on me. "Thank you," I said. That night, I sat by the window. I touched the necklace he gave me. Later, he brought tea and sat in front of me. He said, "You seem happier lately." I looked at him and nodded. "Yes, I think I am." I didn't say anything else, but I felt it in my heart. No fear, no pain, just peace. I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel lost. Each day was softer. The days that followed were slow and calm, but everything felt new. We laughed more. We went shopping together. We took walks. We watched birds and clouds. We talked about nothing and everything. One day, I went to the city alone. I went to the market. I bought fruit and flour. I smiled at people. They smiled back. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel ashamed. I felt like a real person. Then I heard two women behind me. They were whispering again. "She only did it for money," one said. "This isn't real. It's pure interest." I felt the words on my back. But this time, I didn't walk away quickly. I stood still. I turned and looked at them. I didn't say anything, but I looked them in the eyes. Then I walked away slowly, with my head held high. I wasn't their story. That night, I told my husband what happened. He listened and said, "People talk when they don't know the truth, but we know, and that's enough." We kept living. Simple and beautiful days. He taught me how to care for the garden. Even though he was rich, he loved to plant and grow flowers. I taught him how to bake cakes. We made a bench for the garden. We would sit there many afternoons, hands close, hearts open. One morning, while picking flowers, he held my hand and kissed it. "Thank you, Aphrodite," he said. "You are light in this house." I looked at him and said, "You are too, my love." Once he got sick. I took care of him. I read to him when he slept. I stayed close to him. I watched his face. I felt afraid, but I also knew I didn't want to lose him. When he got better, he smiled and said, "Thank you, Aphrodite. You took care of me." I said, "I love you." It was the first time I said it out loud. He looked at me with eyes full of tears. "I love you too." The seasons passed. Our love grew like the garden. Not fast, not loud, but deep and steady. I didn't feel poor. I didn't feel lost. I felt loved. I felt strong. One afternoon, I sat with him in the garden. I held his hand. We looked at the sky. He said, "You saved me." I said, "No, you saved me." He smiled. "Maybe we saved each other." And we lived our love together for the rest of our lives.